Good evening, Council. In the absence of the President of Council, I'd like to call this meeting to order with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. It was brought to my attention that the likely person that would sit in as President Pro Tem would be Councilman Terry Reeves. Is there any objections to Terry sitting in for tonight's meeting as President of Council? Hearing none, Mr. Reeves, the chair is yours. Suck it in. I gotta suck it in.
No, you Thank you, Mayor and Council. You already called the meeting to order, so today is Monday, October 28th of 24. We already did the Pledge of Allegiance, so we'll do a roll call of council people. Ms. Rawson, please.
Mrs. Ackerman? Here. Mr. Drake? Mr. Horniak? Mrs. Paula?
Here.
Mr. Reeves?
Here.
Mr. Sounder?
Here.
Mr. Wallensack?
Here. Thank you. Also present at tonight's meeting is Mayor Michael J. Safarian, City Administrator Joe Mazur, Clerk of Council Cassie Rawson, Law Director Melissa Popora, Public Service Director Paul Roman, Police Chief Brandon Began, Assistant Police Chief Ryan Spangler, Fire Chief Clayton O'Brien, Finance Director Nick Roman, and Parks and Recreation Commissioner Tim Borton. Our first bit of business is we have to approve the minutes of the October 24th, 2024, 14th of 2024, and the regular council meeting, and the October 21st of 2024 committee of the whole meeting. Council?
Mr. President,
Yes, Mrs. Pauloff.
I move to approve the minutes from October 14th, 2024 regular council meeting and the October 21st, 2024 committee of the whole meeting.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Wallensack. The minutes have been approved. Persons of delegation,
There is none.
there is one person that is signed in. Tariq Kadri, if you would please come to the microphone and state your name and address, please, for the record.
Thank you. My name is Tariq Kadri, 52 Ponderosa Drive here in Oregon, Oregon. Well, first of all, thank you guys for letting me talk. Do I just talk then? I wanted to come and introduce myself in person. I'm a longtime resident. I grew up in Oregon, graduated from Clay in 1998, been a resident ever since. I was born with macular degeneration, so I'm legally blind, which means I don't drive. And growing up in Oregon, it was a little tough because there's no public transportation. And one of the things over the years, I would talk to Mike Beasley or some other people, I know Paul Roman, to see about maybe working on getting TARDA or some sort of public transit here in Oregon. And I know there's always been interest in it, but nothing really ever happened until recently. Mike Beasley was kind of telling me that there would be a new bill on the ballot for how TARDA gets their money now. And so now it's a sales tax, which now includes Oregon because we're in Lucas County. So all that being said, I was talking to Pete Gherkin, and he asked me, because now that the county is a part of it, the county had 3 seats for the TARDA board. And they asked me if I would sit on a county seat. I accepted, and I'm on TARDA's board now. I'm filling someone's position until April of 2025. With that being said, I guess I just wanted to come, although I'm not, I think on the TARDA board, there's 7 cities that have seats. And so I think because Oregon is a part of now because of the new bill, there's no seat for Oregon yet. I'm not sure if there will be one or not, But I told Tarda, the CEO and the board, that I am an Oregon citizen, and I figure I can come talk to you guys, let you know I'm on the board, and maybe take Oregon's thoughts back to Tarda with any decision making going forward. So, with that being said, I wanted to, like I said, introduce myself to you guys, let you know that I'm on the board. I would be interested to know what Oregon, what all your positions are on kind of Tarda's access, how Tarda's going to work in Oregon. I know right now there's just a Route 2 that comes up Star to Wheeling to Navarre to Walmart, and that's like the limit to a fixed route. I'm not sure if they're looking to maybe expand fixed routes so it can travel more around Oregon. That being said, I'm not sure if Oregon is interested to have more routes, and that's kind of the main reason I'm coming to you guys, to see what Oregon's position would be on that. Second is there's an event going on November 14th that Tarda's hosting. I believe hopefully you guys received the flyer, a PDF flyer for that. I was just put on the board in August, so I'm still new. But I think it's called, it's an event to kind of give information to community leaders and stuff. They're gonna have all their buses, different models of buses. It's gonna be at the Seagate Center, or the Glass City Center now. And I think it starts at 9, so it's an hour presentation of what Tarda's doing. So if anybody would like to go, there should be a way to RSVP on the flyer. If you don't have it, I'm sure you can contact me somehow. I'd be more than happy to get the information to you. That's November 14th. I believe it starts at 9, 8:30, I think, 8:30 or 9. Something else they asked me to mention to you guys is one of the programs Tarda does is it's called a walleye bus. And again, I don't know all the information, but I believe they're going to start trying to dedicate one bus to go to the walleye games downtown. And they said that they're going to have a pickup here in Oregon at Star School. So going forward, I'm not sure if it's free, if there's a cost, but kind of just a way to help get people to downtown for walleye games and avoid parking. So that's all I have for you guys. Thank you for listening to me.
Thank you.
Mr. President?
Ms. Paula, yes.
I'm sorry, what is your name again? I didn't catch it.
Tarik, Tarik. Last name's Kadri, Kadri.
Well, Mr. Kadri, I remember when Tarda, when they were first having plans coming in here, and I had even inquired if we had representation, because every municipality in Tarda in the system has a representative. And I really want to thank you very much for taking on that role. And now we know who we can contact, because if you're our go-to guy, that's great, because we have a citizen at Tarda who has eyes and ears in Oregon. So thank you so much for your service in that.
A pleasure.
Thank you. If you don't mind, if you could get us, if you would please, your email and or phone number where we can reach you if we have questions, that when you're not here, it would be greatly appreciated.
Sure.
Okay, and Mr. Mazur, did you have some questions?
I was gonna let you know, Cassie has his email and phone number already, all the contact
Oh, okay.
information. And that's number one. Number two, it's the Tarda Community Update on November 14th. Registration's at 8:30, and I think it's from 9 to 10.
Thank you so much. I
That's-
was trying
I
to look
just
for
wanted
the
to make
email
sure.
in my phone before the
Yeah.
meeting and couldn't find it.
Mr.
Thank
President,
you.
All right,
Mr. Mayor.
And Tarek, I would like to expand the experience I've had with the Tarek, or with the Tarda representatives when they were going to put the scheduled route into the city of Oregon. I got into a rather heated conversation with Sam Meldon, who was very nice, and I do like Sam Meldon. He was very, very courteous. But I was asking for that loop as it goes to Walmart to leave and loop through and come to this complex. Because a lot of times, especially during the day in court, there's a lot of people that either walk in or have no way to get to court. So I thought it would be good. And it's not much farther than they do that. That was something they didn't even consider. They said it was just like a flat no. And we were trying to mend sometimes with it, I don't know if you know the history, the city of Oregon overwhelmingly does not support TARDA. In fact, when we were faced with being put in with TARDA due to a county vote, is the only way it went in. So there was overwhelmingly the population in the city of Oregon was against it. But once it is, we tried, and Joel Mazer and I, tried to talk just to get a little bit more. It was tough. They just, it was pretty flat. No, it was like don't even ask again. But then Sam came back. He was very nice, and he was helping. So I think he's a good guy. It's first time that we had experience with what I thought were caring people there. So maybe after this time they lightened up a little bit, but we tried to get more service here. And I didn't think that was a whole lot to ask from where it was to come here. It's about a mile. So
And I think this is an important building to come to, especially if people.
I would
have
think
work.
at least some time of the day, when court was in session, I understand that sometimes to come through here at night, just because people use the rec, it's not consistent enough for them to schedule, constant trips here. But to make a couple passes through the day, I didn't think it was a lot to ask for, but it turned out it was. Just so you know.
Thank you.
And
Counsel?
Mr. President, I'll
Yes,
just,
Mr.
to add to that, the reason why they didn't want to add the main line all the way to this building was because they were wanting to see how Tardo Flex did. And that's the new service they provide, where it's kind of like what do you call it? Like a
It's like an Uber. where
Lyft or an
you-
Uber
yeah.
type of public transportation. It's $3 a ride instead of $1.50 a ride. So you can take the main line to the Walmart and then get a flex ride to the court.
To the court.
if you needed to,
Oh,
and that's what-
You could take the
That's-
flex pretty much anywhere that's not on a main line. I've had a little bit of experience with flex, and it's hard because there's a half-hour window. It could be up to 45 minutes, so it's not a fixed route, but. All right, well,
Well, thank you very much.
thank you guys.
Okay, council, we have to, we had our meeting last week and the first three items were spoken about. We have to add item 174 of 2024 to tonight's agenda.
Mr.
Counsel?
President,
Yes, Ms.
so
Paul.
moved.
Ms. Paul, thank you.
So moved.
Second? Second, Mr. Wallenczak. Okay. Are there any objections? Hearing none, it's placed on tonight's agenda. We're going to start with item 170 of 2024. It's presented by the mayor and our public service director, Paul Roman. We'll go right to Mr. Roman.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have nothing to add from last week. This ordinance is simply needed to close out the project, and there was a series of changes and deducts as noted in the Exhibit A, and that's it. This is to close it out, it is a deduct of $3,945. And as I mentioned last week too, that we'll have to come up with a capital improvement charge, which will go towards paying the loan back, which will be over the next 20 years. That charge will come off the bill once that loan is paid. We're still working on that. We'll likely come back to council in November with that charge. So that's it.
Thank you. Council, any questions? Hearing none, I'll ask Ms. Rawson to read the item for the record. We'll move it from item 170 of 2024 to ordinance 170 of 2024.
Authorizing the mayor, director of public service, and finance director to sign change order number 2 final with Kirk Bros Co. Inc., 16380 US 224 East Findlay, Ohio, in an amount of a net contract deduct of $3,945.81 due to the changes in work related to the Oregon wastewater treatment plant safety, disinfection, and grit removal improvement project and declaring an emergency.
Thank you. Council,
Mr. President,
Yes, Mr. Sandler.
I'd like to make a motion for passage of item 170 of 2024 and declare an emergency.
Thank you.
Second?
We have the motion was made by Mr. Sandler to pass, second by Ms. Paulo. Any objections? Now, Ms. Ross, will you take a roll of council?
Mr. Sandler,
Yes.
Mrs. Paula,
Yes.
Mrs. Ackerman, Mr. Reeves.
Yes,
Mr. Wallenzack.
Yes.
the item passes 5 yeas to 0 nays. Item 171 of 2024, Ms. Well, we got to talk about it first. Mr. Roman?
Again, this was talked about last week. This is the first, one of the first easements needed for the Navarre Avenue Safety Improvement Project, and this is from Subway location. And again, it's a temporary easement. Happy to answer any questions.
Council, what's your pleasure? Hearing nothing, I'm going to assign item 171 as ordinance 171 of 2024 and have Ms. Rawson read it into the record.
Authorizing the mayor, finance director, and director of public service to enter into an agreement with Sigma Restaurants, Inc., 6065 Winter Haven Drive, Sylvania, Ohio, for the acquisition of one temporary easement for the LUC SR 221.72 Navarre Avenue Safety PID 118234 project and declaring an emergency.
Thank you. Council,
Mr. President,
Ms. Paula.
I move for passage of ordinance 171 of 2024 and declaring an emergency.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Salinger. We have a motion made by Ms. Paula, second by Mr. Salinger. Is there any objection? Hearing none. Ordinance passes. Sorry, can we get a roll call, Ms. Rawson, excuse me.
Mrs. Paula,
Yes.
Mr. Solander,
Yes.
Mrs. Ackerman,
yes,
Mr. Reeves.
Yes,
Mr. Wallenzack.
Yes.
the ordinance passes 5 yeas, 0 nays. We'll move on to the next item is presented by the mayor and city administration, Mr. Mazer. Item 172 of 2024.
Thank you,
Mr.
Mr.
Mazer.
Thank you, Mr. President. So this ordinance would authorize us to enter into a purchase order with the Regional 911 COG. And I believe everybody has received the information that was requested from last week on the proportional shares. And I'll just reiterate that our proportional share percentage actually went down, and the actual amount that we'll have to pay for the coming year also went down. So with that, I'll take any questions.
Council,
Mr. President,
Mr. Salinger.
I just want to just take a moment, just to say thank you. Thank you for getting that information, and also thank you to Stacy Mitchell for getting that as well. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Council? Hearing none, I'm going to assign ordinance 172 of 2024 as ordinance 172 of 24 and have Ms. Rawson read it into the record.
Authorizing the mayor and finance director to issue purchase orders to Lucas County 911 Regional Council of Governments, 2144 Monroe Street, Toledo, Ohio, for providing 911 support services and declaring an emergency.
Thank you. Council?
Mr. President,
Ms. Paulo?
I move for passage of ordinance 172 of 2024 and declaring an emergency.
Thank you.
Second.
Second by Mr. Salinger. We have a motion made to pass it by Ms. Paulo, second by Mr. Salinger. Council, any objections? Hearing none, Ms. Rawson, will you take a roll on 170, ordinance 172, please?
Mrs. Paula,
Yes.
Mr. Salinger,
Yes.
Mrs. Ackerman,
yes,
Mr. Reeves,
Yes.
Mr. Wallenzack.
Yes.
Thank you, council. The ordinance passes 5 yeas, 0 nays. Item 173 of 2024, we're going to go to the mayor.
Thank you, Mr. President. And council, you're aware that the representatives from River Rock were here last week to to explain their portion of it, and we presented why we were requesting them to be the handlers of this. Mr. Bosselman is here representing River Rock, and I don't see Mike Denman here. Is
No.
not here, but we'll stand with what we presented last week, but we'll try to answer any questions if someone has additional questions regarding this arrangement and the transfer of the property to them so they can start working and promoting and hopefully bringing us businesses as soon as possible.
Thank you, Mayor. Council? Hearing none, I will assign item 173 of 2024 as ordinance 173 of 2024 and have Ms. Rawson read it into the record.
Authorizing the mayor to enter into the First Amendment to and assignment of the development agreement with River Rock, Oregon and Ohio Limited Liability Company, 5215 Monroe Street, Suite 8, Toledo, Ohio, for the transfer of land development of the town center and declaring an emergency.
Council?
Mr. President,
Yes, Mrs. Pollitt.
I move for passage of ordinance 173 of 2024 and declaring an emergency.
Second.
And second by Mr. Wallenczak. The ordinance has been passed by Ms. Paula, second by Mr. Wallenczak. Any objections? Hearing none, would Ms. Ross, will you take a roll of council, please?
Mrs. Paula,
Yes.
Mr. Wallenczak,
Yes.
Mrs. Ackerman,
Yes.
Mr. Reeves,
Yes.
Mr. Salander.
Yes.
Thank you. The ordinance passes 5 yeas, 0 nays. Our last item is, I'm assuming it's from the mayor and Joel.
The finance director,
Oh, Melissa?
the finance director, mayor and finance
Okay.
director. Who's going
Is
to?
it Melissa?
No, it's- Ms. Pepora.
Thank you, Mr. President. This.
Oh, yeah.
No, go ahead.
Yeah.
Yes.
Could you? Bad movement.
Thank you.
This ordinance is to enter into an agreement with the Criminal Justice Coordinating Council to provide criminal justice information service through the Northwest Ohio Information System and records management support for the Oregon Municipal Court for a period of January 1st, 2025 through December 31st, 2025. The CJCC provides criminal justice information through Norris, as well as criminal records management application with the addition of imaging that supports the Oregon Municipal Court's records management. This is a yearly agreement that the court desires to continue utilization of these services for this period, again, of January 1st, 2025 through December 31st, 2025, for a annual amount of $46,130.80. This is going to be proposed in the 2025 municipal budget. If anyone has any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Council. Hearing none, I will assign item 174 of 2024 as ordinance 174 of 2024 and ask Ms. Rawson to please read it into the record.
Authorizing the mayor and finance director to enter into an agreement with the Criminal Justice Coordinating Council, CJCC, One Government Center, Suite 1720, Toledo, Ohio, to provide criminal justice information service through the Northwest Ohio Information Services, or Norris, and records management support for the Oregon Municipal Court for the period of January 1, 2025 through December 31st, 2025, and declaring an emergency.
Thank you. Council.
Mr. President,
Ms. Paula.
I move for passage of ordinance 174 of 2024 and declaring an emergency.
Thank you. Ms. Paula. Second by Mr. Salander. The ordinance has been motioned by Ms. Paula and second by Mr. Salander. You read it.
Any further comments?
Any objections? Hearing none. Ms. Rawson, would you please read it into the record?
Read the roll call.
Roll call first.
Oh, we're roll call. 'Cause there was.
Yep. Mrs. Paula?
Yes.
Mr. Salander?
Yes.
Mrs. Ackerman?
Yes.
Mr. Reeves?
Yes.
Mr. Wallensack?
Yes.
Ordinance passes 5 yeas, 0 nays. That's all of the items we have for tonight. We'll move on to the mayor's report.
Thank you, Mr. President. And Council, the last couple of meetings, I mentioned that we were making really exciting progress in our industrial park. We hope to bring something forward to you next Monday, November 4th. Between myself and Mr. Mazer, we will be contacting each of you and describing what we have going on. And we believe people will be very excited to proceed with what we believe is a wonderful opportunity for us in our industrial park. So some of you I've spoke to, some I haven't, but through the course of maybe even the rest of this evening, I'd like to have all of you with some knowledge of what we have going on and how we could have a really exciting day next Monday.
Thank you. Mr. Major.
No report, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Major. Ms. Purpura.
No report, Mr. President.
Thank you, Ms. Purpura. Mr. Roman.
No report, Mr. President.
Thank you. We'll go to Ms. Pauloff.
Thank you, Mr. President. Today is National First Responder Appreciation Day. And with our chiefs here, I really want to extend a thank you and let you know that all of you are appreciated so very much. Not only you, but everybody who is involved in emergency services. Thank you so much for everything that you do for the city of Oregon. You are greatly appreciated. Thank you. Ends my report.
Thank you, Ms. Pauloff. We'll go to Mr. Wallensack.
No report this evening.
Thank you, Mr. Wallensack. Mrs. Ackerman.
No report.
Thank you, Ms. Ackerman. Mr. Salander.
No report from my standing committee. I just want to echo the thank yous for the First Responders Day to all police and fire and also dispatch as well. I know they're not with us here, but they're an essential part of it all too. So thank you.
Thank you very much. And from my standing committee, we had it gave the report on the fall sports just before this meeting. It wasn't an official meeting, but Mr. Borton did a great job of giving us the information of all of our teams and what has happened throughout the summer months and that. And we're looking forward to our winter programs kicking off here shortly. Mr. Borton, do you have anything to add? No? Well, so that's my report. And if we don't have, I don't think we have anything else. So I will seek a motion to adjourn.
Mr. President,
Ms. Pauloff.
so moved.
Thank you, Ms. Pauloff. Thank you, Mr. Salander. This meeting is adjourned. Thank you, folks.